Welcome back, guys, to Drain Assessment and Management. Today we're going to go through a routine drain declog. It'll be a snaking of a sink drain line in the bathroom. As you can see, we start off by removing the P-trap. The reason that is because, again, we don't have any of those newer trap arms that have the little hole at the top at this moment in time. Fortunately, I lost it during the transition. So, odds are it's in the trash somewhere, as unfortunate as that sounds. So, it's not going to be super cool video where all I do is replace one piece and remove the other and snake right through while the water's running at the same time. However, what I will do is what I normally do. As you see that there's a bag down there. That bag is just prep because there's no bucket or anything like that can fit in between nicely. And I just want to make sure that there's no water that leaks out and hits the floor and that can't be cleaned up easily. As you can see, I have my own little mats down there as well and some other cloths in order to soak up any water that comes out. So going through these lines, especially small lines, if you're doing it at home by yourself, you always want to make sure you have the proper things for it. And if you can, have a little extra. I have some stuff in the bucket off to the right that you guys can't see in this video at this moment. But it's just to help in case an emergency or anything like that occurs. As you can see, I'm just going to go ahead and put the snake in. A lot of times, drain lines will have things like 90s or elbows or some sort between a 45, whatever, right? In order to allow the water to drain in an appropriate manner and have a good slope or pitch. It's just to warn you guys in case you're snaking by yourself. If you do feel something rough, it's just a pipe back there. Don't go ahead and force your way through. Be kind and be gentle and attempt to go through easy. If it does give you a little bit of a fight, you can put a good effort into it, but just not too much force. As you can see here that I'm doing right now, it's a proper amount of force. I'm not forcing it, not strangling, nothing. Just going ahead and attempting to push it through real nice and gentle. If worse comes to worse, all you have to do is kick your machine into reverse and give it a little bit of a pedal, and then it should go down pretty easy. Again, don't overexert yourself. The pipe isn't super strong, especially not at its age. This is an older house that I'm working in today, or at least on that day, I should say. And yes, it is an older home. So I'm going to take my time. Snaking through, you'll see that I'm feeling for specific stuff, such as hard blockages and whatnot. And when I hit them, there's two ways to feel it. There's the choice option, which is to go slow and let the snake just gently be pressed through. If you do feel your snake getting stuck on something, you'll feel free to pull it back like I did. So that way it doesn't get caught and stuck and just grinds into that one area. Sometimes that could literally be a spot in the pipe that you're hitting that is a part of the pipe in and of itself. And you want to go slow. You want to make sure you don't break the pipe while you're doing this. You're trying to extract the best result out of a bad situation. And yes, I said extract because it could be very good or very bad or really fast. Especially when it comes to snaking. It's not really a super easy, super no risk situation. Neither for you or your pipe. You don't want to have to dig between walls or into the concrete, whatever your situation is, and to replace a section of the line that could have just been fine. Have you just went a little slower and snaked appropriately. Things do change quickly, so just to be aware, there are other chemicals you can use besides a Drano-like substance or a really caustic substance to clear or at least maintain the health of your line. These are what you would like to call the enzyme cleaners in the business. And those enzyme cleaners are just a nicer way to say it's something that's not going to hurt the pipe. It's supposed to be formulated in order to eat away at the gunk, the sludge, the byproduct from your body, your mouth, and your soap, and help it easily go down and also coat the pipe. For people who are familiar, there's probably people who like the Green Gobbler. I've seen that in action, and I have recommended that a couple different times throughout my career because people wanted to know what would be the difference between the solution that I was selling and what would be the solution on the market. And there's just a different formula for everything. That's it. If it says it does a certain thing, feel free to use it. If for some odd reason you want to change up chemicals, make sure you do not use them back to back. Flush your line entirely with water and then go from there. You don't want to accidentally create something that can turn into a solid overnight, because you are supposed to leave those enzyme cleaners in for about 8 hours or so. As you can see, I'm just putting the trap back on and also showing you that I have a beauty mark on the top of my head. Other than that, I was just going to let you know that you should probably not need to use a wrench or any type of clamp or anything really to tighten these slip joint nuts down. The reason that is because they're already kind of made to be hand tightened, and it's just to make sure that you guys don't over wrench on these things. Most people already know this by now. I'm just not saying anything new. I'm just letting you guys know what I already know and what you most likely do. But if anyone doesn't, that's okay. Not everybody gets underneath a sink and does it every day, Sometimes it's just a hobby for some people, and sometimes it's something that people do out of necessity. So they come to videos like this to see what exactly they need to do. And again, I think I already was very thorough earlier by saying that you might want to put something down that's absorbent, so that way you don't have an issue with water coming out of the pipe or flowing out of the pipe in any manner, in order to protect yourself. And yes, the wall does get dirty from time to time, but that's okay. Especially if you're doing it the old school way like me, where you actually just remove the trap altogether and just snake the line, which is foolish again, I know. But again, like I said, I don't have the particular tool, so I did what I had to do, and we're going to keep on moving. And yes, that also includes cleaning the wall, and that's all right. These jobs are fairly easy, and they can take up to anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the run of the line. Some lines have a bunch of 45s to connect into the stack, and also a 90 and a trap on top of that, depending on your situation. Because sometimes you can't readily remove the P-trap, and some people will actually have to snake through it. And that's a whole different process altogether. But it's pretty much the same thing. It's just a different mindset. You got to go through it really nice and gentle when you're going through these bag traps underneath the sink, because they're thin as heck. And they have the new ones that are supposed to be a little bit better. But I don't necessarily trust those ones either, personally. Nevertheless, just go ahead and take it slow. That's pretty much the gist of that. And at this moment in time, I'm just chit-chatting with the customer that I have. So that's why I'm taking so long on this one. Yes, you can definitely do it faster than 45 minutes. And yes, there are probably people who say that's way too long of time, but I don't agree with them. I think you're going to have to take your time if you're new to this. If you're old school and you know what you're doing, that's fine. I still tell a customer between 45 minutes to an hour, so that gives me time to get in to chit-chat with them. And it also gets me time to actually snake the line out in a way that I like. I don't like to go super quick. I have done that before in the past, and I was told to slow down. Hitting 5 to 6 homes within the course of a couple hours. Obviously, they were close to in proximity. But regardless, it was one of the situations where it was like, yeah, you can do that, and it does make money. But the issue that comes with that is, some people would prefer a bit of a longer service. However, I just did the 45 minutes to an hour, so that way the customer can relax for a little bit, and I'm not in and out, and customer can feel satisfied with the work that I do to some degree. And also, again, like I said, to do it the way I like to do it, which is to take my time to make sure I blow through some of these blockages. Because what you don't know is that if you don't get those blockages blown out proper, what ends up happening is those blockages come back just to haunt you. They sit together and they block up the line. So you just pretty much have to make sure everything's going right. At this point in time, I am water testing, which you cannot see. And water testing really just depends on the person. I'd say for a main line, a water test should be anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes. And that's only because I've had my own issues with main lines in the past, where I've gone out behind other people and cleaned up their mess by re-unclogging someone's line within 30 days or 40 days or 5 days or 6 days or whatever. It doesn't matter. I do believe that you should endeavor to run a lot of water, at least for 10 to 15 minutes in a home if you're doing a main line. Underfloor line, you don't have to worry too much about. And the reason that is because it runs right to the main, and it is a smaller line. However, you can also still do the 10 to 15 minute ratio for that line as well, depending on the diameter of it. So if it's like a kitchen underfloor line, you won't necessarily have to run it as long, because you'll be able to tell because it's a smaller line, it's going to back up quicker. But for like a bathroom underfloor line, you might want to actually take a little bit more time, run some water. But the reason why it won't take as long is because all you have to do is pop the cap to the main, and you can actually see the water flowing through. If the water doesn't look like it's stopping up, you're having a good day. If the water looks like it's not coming out proper, while you do have it open, feel free to send the snake back through. Definitely while the water is running. And if nothing changes, that just may be the flow. So that means you might have to, turn the tub on, flush the toilet, and then you may see flow faster. But that's just me being honest. Like, I wouldn't necessarily try to force the flow to run super, super quick. You'll genuinely be able to tell the flow rate just by looking at it when it's regular water running through. Or I should say a normal amount, like a sink. A toilet is not abnormal, to be fair. So if anybody thinks that that's not a normal flow of water or rate of water that goes through the home, that's not true. I'm just saying the way I water test within a specific period of time is technically not normal for a home, because I'm trying to simulate the amount of water that you would use within probably a full day within about 10 to 15 minutes in that scenario. So that way, if you were to back up, or the possibility was there, I'd be able to catch it within that time frame, and I wouldn't leave you hanging with any mess or any cleanup or any issues for the next day. And sometimes, even if it is clear, depends on what kind of situation your line is in, you're going to need a camera inspection. I usually let people know that because, again, it's one of those things. And the reason I walked away from the sink there, because you probably noticed, is because I needed to check if there was any leaks anywhere else in the house, in the area that I was actually snaking through. Water testing helps you see two different things. The first thing the water test helps you see is whether or not the line is open. The second is open how. So if you open the line, you're probably familiar that it's supposed to flow right out into the stack and drop down. However, if you do this commonly, like this is your job every day, you know that there's going to be lines where you're snaking it, and you know dang well that line is not going to hold your snake. It's definitely not going to be holding water after you get done snaking it. So there's a chance that water is actually leaking out somewhere or pouring out somewhere. The rate of, or the amount of water flowing through the line that I had ran was fine. It didn't show any leaks at that time. So I went for a round 2. And I also decided to video record what round 2 looks like. It's just me doing the same thing, except a little bit in a shorter run because I already ran it for quite some time. That whole time I was sitting there chatting with the customer, I was running water. And I did ask them if it was okay for me to water test again because I wanted to double check. Because, again, this is one of the situations where it's an older home. I'm not uncomfortable. However, I don't leave much to chance if I get the opportunity. I want to make sure I'm 110% ready for whatever comes my way. And that's exactly why I did that. And you're about to see me swap over in just a few seconds here. And that's when I'm just plugging up the sink at this moment because I'm trying to see how much water can go down and how quick it can go down. Getting sinks to run like new again is fun for me, and it's a good experience for customers, I assume. Most of them when I leave are happy, and when I see me, they're happy again. However, when they see me again, it's usually for a different reason. And if it is for the same one, something catastrophic may have happened between the time that I left the house. But there has been situations where I have had to come back and clean up after myself because though the line may look or appear that it's open from, a bird's eye view, X-ray vision from Superman suggests that there may have been more problems than what I was willing to take care of that day because, again, it wasn't really a willing situation. You got to understand you're always flying blind with these situations. So no matter if you want to keep snaking all day and night, you're still probably going to have an issue. And then you also have to think about the time that you are spending at your customer's house and how many calls you have to get to that day. So you do really have to keep that in mind. You don't want to uphold anything that you wouldn't want to do in your own house, but you also want to make sure that you're not staying at somebody's house like you own a house. You want to make sure you get up, get in, get the job done, obviously, and make sure you did a fair job of it. And make sure you test. That's what these water tests are for in the first place. To make sure you did a fair job of it and made sure that you definitely knew that by the time you left that house, that this water is at least draining into this sink and you put enough water down to clog it back up. So if it does inevitably clog again, there is another issue or just clogs on the line. Again, this is a pipe with a diameter, so it's an opportunity to have been missed some debris. You could have missed some debris is what I'm trying to say when you're sticking your snake through, because a snake is not a perfect thing. I have seen the chain-like snakes that whip chains around and coats the diameter of a pipe. However, I don't recommend that all the time. I'm no expert, but I've seen some things, and I'd rather not have an issue that would lead a customer to downfall. And so far, what I've used this machine in the past, present, and I plan to continue to use it in the future, it seems to get me pleasant results. That one I'm going to end up probably getting eventually, but at this moment in time, I want to just make sure that I know what I'm doing with that thing before I decide to use it. It's never about the tool. It's always about the user with these situations. So, yes, even if I'm doing a fantastic job with this, if I get that new one, there's a chance that it's not going to end well for me or my customers. So I'd rather just stick to what I know. And then once I start using that on my own time, practicing at my own house and other pipes and stuff like that, and seeing how I feel about it and what it does to my house, then I'll decide to come out and use it for everybody else if it is better. For at this moment in time, I don't see that it is. Not because I don't think it is or that I never thought it would be. It's just, again, that's my personal preference at the moment in time, is to make sure that if I do use a tool, that I have some sort of experience with it before I decide to bring it out into the field with me and then fiddle around with it. That's why we are going to be bringing only tools that I've used or have some experience with in this situation. So when you see the upcoming news and dates and stuff like that on the website about what's coming out, yes, I've already used the equipment at which I'm going to be utilizing in your homes, just to let you know. As you see, I'm cleaning all that black stuff up. Yes, this is one of those situations where, like I said, that gunk that's in that line stains almost anything and everything. If you let it sit long enough, the porcelain's fine, but it's just like everything else isn't. Like the walls and stuff like that, it can definitely get in the grout and change the color of the grout really fast. And I use a concentrated blend. I don't use, well, I can't even say it's a blend. It's just straight up Pine Sol or straight up Fabuloso. I've noticed that those two works pretty well on removing any type of black sludge from those drain lines. So if you guys are wondering what to use, I'd use those two or something similar to those. You don't have to exactly get whatever I say. That's not necessary. But anything that you've seen that works really well, you can use. If you want to use those bleach Clorox wipes or whatever, that's fine too. No one's telling you not to. I just know it works. And what works is using concentrate. The concentrated Pine Sol, concentrated Fabuloso. Don't dilute. It'll tear right through that. Yes. If you do oversaturate your cloth, mine isn't there yet, you'll start painting. Obviously, I'm not a painter, so my job is not to paint, as you can see. So just make sure you guys are careful. As you see, I rolled that back up and on itself. Wet it for better lubricant to mix with the solution that I had put on my rag. And yes, you can dilute. I'm not saying you can. It's just one of the situations where the concentrate works better instead of diluting it with some other solution. And if you're wondering if you can dilute it with bleach, you can do that too if you're interested. Again, I just don't use bleach because bleach is a little bit of a harsher chemical to be smelling in close proximity. These chemicals are harsh as well when they're concentrated, but if it's Pine Sol, Fabuloso, it's lemon or something like that, some sort of scent that you have that you like. So it's not as bad, but it's still pretty strong. And yes, this is a part of my routine. When I do get those traps that have the hole in it that you can actually stick a snake through, I'm definitely going to end up getting one of those, obviously. But I honestly would make it myself. I've seen them. I know how to make them. They're not really hard to make. I'm not going to sell them or anything like that, but it's very easy to make. It doesn't mean it doesn't. I don't know why people would buy it if it doesn't come free with something. It's a little bit of a waste of money, in my opinion. However, if you're a professional snaker and you're like, it's not a waste of money, and if you make it yourself, it's not as good. I mean, I agree to disagree. Hopefully in the next video I can show you how good it is instead of how beautiful my round bald spot is on top of my head. Again, we did have our number posted in the front of the video. Feel free to give us a call. We do answer questions. If you go ahead and text us at our WhatsApp with that phone number, you will get a reply back from us if you do send a message. If it may not be that same day, so we do apologize about that. However, we will do our best to endeavor to text you guys back every single day that you guys text us at the same day, if possible. We know that there's a lot of questions that go out there in the world, and some people can answer them and some people can't. We'll do our best to let you know whether that's something we do or don't do. I do have some more videos upcoming besides for this one. Let me know what you guys like, what you don't. I will be doing shorts as well because I know that these long frame videos can be a little bit tiring for some people. But I just wanted to give people what we see and what we do, so that way everybody knows we're out and about and we're ready to service you guys. I understand if you do not want the services, that's understandable. Maybe they aren't for you. Maybe you want something a little bit more like a hydrojet, something like that. Just to let you know, we are working on producing that for you guys as well. That's something that we have coming up, as well as emergency services. We do think that emergency services is something that's very important. We're just trying to make sure we price it properly before we bring it to the public, so that way you guys have everything you guys need, as well as the hydrojet and stuff like that. Again, we appreciate you guys for stopping by. And if anybody is doing their own work at home, feel free to enjoy it. Don't be upset when you have to. If it isn't something that you really want to do, you can feel free to give us a call at any moment in time. It'd be fantastic to get to know you guys. And again, like always, stay dry.